Welcome to the Simply Sales Podcast. This is where we share and discuss our experiences in the world of sales and business. Each week, we will provide you with actionable content to help you improve your sales game. Thank you for taking the time to listen. We hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome to episode 20 of the Simply Sales Podcast. On this episode, I would like to share with you public speaking. So I'm going to break it down into two parts. This is part one of public speaking. So just to give you the backstory of what happened and how I've got onto this subject. So I was sat at home on Friday night and there's a group called Champions of Mind and I'm part of their community on Facebook, LinkedIn and so on. And they were running a public speaking event on Saturday. And unfortunately, they had a couple of people that couldn't attend. They'd already paid for the tickets, but they couldn't attend. And the guys, Reese, Llewellyn and James at Champions of Mind decided to give away the tickets. So I, registered my name and said, look, I'd be interested to come along and I could definitely make it to get into Essex for the next day. And at about 10:30 on Friday evening, I got a message saying, we'd love to have you down and, if you can get here for 10 o'clock and here's all of the details. So not only was I, ecstatic about the opportunity, but I was also nervous because I wasn't really sure what to think or what was going to happen or how the event was going to be, how the event would sort of pan out. So the event started at 10 o'clock and I live about an hour away from Essex, so it's not too far. But I decided to leave at 8 in the morning, purely and simply because I hate to be late for anything. I'm one of those type of people that prefer to be somewhere an hour early than 5 minutes late. And especially on the basis that I've been given the opportunity to go to an event, a paid event, for free. And, they've done it as a competition and I'm the person that's won it and been given this fantastic opportunity. I decided to grab it with both hands to make sure that there would be no reason why I was not late or that I could not turn up. So I made every opportunity, took every opportunity that I had to make sure that I was there, ready, prepared, way before that I needed to be. So by leaving at 8 meant I got to Essex at about 9:15 because there was a little bit of traffic on the M25. So that gave me enough time to make sure that I could find the venue, find somewhere to park, and then also find a shop to get a drink and stuff like that. So always, just as a reminder, always, wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, do not be late. There was people that turned up. There was two people that turned up late. I don't know whether they paid. I don't know whether they didn't pay. Whether they were, part of the competition or not. But the point is, it's just plain rude, man, and disrespectful. So don't turn up late for anything, job interview, work, whatever. Just always be on time, So I had an idea of what I thought the public speaking might be about. I thought maybe perhaps it's going to be about your body language, posture, hand movements, stage position, pitch, tone, or speed. And in all honesty, Reese, who was giving the training, actually flipped the script on all of the 21 people that were there on the day. Completely flipped it. And I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for myself and having conversations with people after. And the general consensus was that he completely blew our mind. And that's the reason why I'm not going to, I'm going to do this in two parts as opposed to one podcast episode. Now, public speaking isn't just about standing up in front of, 5 people, 10 people or 1,000 people. It's being able to effectively communicate your message to the listener. Now, that could be a conversation with your partner, your husband, your wife, maybe your child, maybe a family member, people at work colleagues or boss, and so on. And I think being able to communicate effectively is a massive life skill set that you can have. And I think we should embrace, being able to effectively communicate. So the Simply Sales podcast is I created it to share my message with the world, and the reason why I wanted to do a podcast was purely and simply because I was scared of doing a video, because I was scared to share my message face to face. Whereas with audio, it's, if I'm camera shy, then I can record a podcast and not have to worry about people seeing me whilst I'm recording it. Hence the reason why today I've decided to push myself even further, and record it at the same time. And the Simply Sales podcast is about selling. And if this is the first time that you're listening to it, or the first time you're seeing about it, we sell on a daily basis. So if you're selling to your partner, your ideas of what you want for dinner, or the places to go, or where to go on holiday, you're selling them your idea and the reasons why you should go to this place and not go to their chosen holiday destination, or whatever it be. Selling isn't just about a transfer of monetary value or buying a product or service. You're selling all the time. And the most common thing, and the most common sales analogy that I can give you is, if you're a parent, you will know that you are constantly selling to your child. You're selling them the reasons of why they can't have something now, or why they need to do this when they don't want to. And having children will completely open your eyes to loads of things, but selling them is one of them. Whenever Millie wants to have a sweet, it's always right before dinner, and I have to sell her the benefits of having her dinner first, and convincing her that she should have a dinner and then she can have a sweet or a pudding or whatever. And being able to effectively communicate that to her is vital. And that's why I think public speaking is a massive asset to anyone. So some of the things that we were taught on the training, I'm going to share with you, because I think they will benefit anybody and everybody. And anyone that has a fear of public speaking, hopefully by the end of even the first part one of the episode, hopefully I will be able to at least give you a little bit more reassurance when it comes to public speaking, so that it doesn't become as daunting as what you initially think it is. So over the last decade, public speaking has changed, and the reason why it's changed is because previously, to publicly speak, you would have to stand in front of 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 people and tell them your message or your story, and you'd have to share that with them, and you'd have to stand there and look them in the face. And publicly speaking now isn't just that. Okay, yes, that's one element of public speaking. However, if you use social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, and you create a video, or you do a live feed, or you do a podcast, then you are speaking publicly to people all around the world. You're not having to stand in front of 100 people, but your message is being recorded once, and then it's enabling you to then communicate to several people all at the same time. So if you are currently recording videos, doing live feeds and so on, then you already are a public speaker. You are speaking publicly. You are communicating to your fans, your followers, your listeners and so on. You are communicating to them. So on that basis, you are publicly speaking. And I'll be honest, when I thought about that, it kind of hit me, because I was thinking, I had that same idea that public speaking was standing up on a stage in front of 100 people or 1,000 people and sharing my message, when actually it's not. So actually now, thinking about it, standing up on a stage isn't as bad as what it sounds like, because I'm already doing half of it. I do the podcast episodes, and now I'm pushing myself to do video. So the next step for me would be to once I've continued doing videos for the next maybe 6 to 12 months, and I feel completely 100% comfortable recording a video, then perhaps that's then maybe when I can move on and maybe stand at the front of a room and present to maybe 10 or 15 people or 20 people. And then again, you consistently, do that to build up your strength, and that enables you to grow, and then you can go on to the next thing. So, and honestly, if you listen to episode 1 of the Simply Sales podcast and you listen to one of the more recent episodes, you will hear the difference in my voice, and you will be able to tell that I feel a lot more comfortable with recording episodes. And it's a wonderful thing to see that growth happen, and sometimes we don't realize that we're growing, and it's actually nice to take a step back and evaluate what's happened, so that we can then move forward even further. Now, as I constantly record more episodes and I repeat everything that I do, and the more times I do it, the easier it becomes, which means I'm growing as a person, and I'm also growing in my confidence levels, and me growing personally, my confidence growing, that then enables me to be able to deliver my message more effectively to my listeners, my fans, my followers, if I have any indeed. Then that enables me to do those things. Whereas before, I'll be honest, I hate this word with a passion, and the word is procrastination, because I have always been a procrastinator. I've always put things off. I'll do it tomorrow, or maybe next year, maybe next week, or it's not the right time because, and I just made excuses because I was scared of failing, and I decided that actually I need to. I can't have that mindset. I need to feel empowered, and I need to move forward. And creating a podcast. I mean, I probably heard my first podcast episode 2015, 2014 maybe, and ever since I heard my first episode on a podcast, I thought, you know what, that's what I want to do. I want to do that because I'd missed the whole YouTube craze, and I wasn't confident enough to be able to do videos and film content and do whatever, and because I was camera shy, podcasting was fantastic. So, but I still then put it off for 3 to 4 years before taking any form of action. And then on the 20th of August this year, I decided, I made a plan, and I committed, and I've stuck to it. And now I have a podcast that is growing, and I'm sharing my message with the world. And as it stands, when I looked at the stats earlier today, we're currently in 10 countries. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a lot on the basis that there is currently 195 countries in the world, and I'm only in 10 of them. But that's 10 more countries that have heard my voice, have heard my message, more than it was 12 months ago. And for me, that's amazing. If someone, the most recent country, I think, was like Thailand and Mexico. Well, for someone in Thailand to be able to hear me, and me to be able to share my message and effectively communicate to someone in Thailand, that's amazing. And if I can impact one person and help them by publicly speaking on a podcast, on a video, and I can share my message and I can help somebody, and not knowing them personally, then I feel completely satisfied that I have done what I set out to achieve. I've gone off on a bit of a tangent, but it's all about public speaking. It's all about pushing yourself to do something that you didn't think was possible. Yeah, and public speaking is, I think it's like number 2 of the most 10 fears that people have in the UK. Number 2, public speaking. Speaking publicly is the second biggest fear in the UK. And actually, if you're doing Insta stories, Facebook Lives and so on, you're already a public speaker. It's just your audience are the people that know you and like you. And it's a case of growing that audience for people and finding new friends and new followers and new fans and so on. Okay, so we've spoken about growth, and through repetition, you then grow as an individual. And when starting out on a live feed or a video, and in all honesty, just like I did with recording this, I think not only is this probably the 15th or 16th outtake because I was nervous, I was anxious. At times I've had a dry mouth, I've had sweaty palms. At one point in the video, my face has gone red, and I've got a bit of a flush on. You may feel weak knees, but honestly, hand on heart, that is a beautiful thing. I'm sat here now, and my palms are sweaty. My face feels like it's on fire, and I do feel nervous, and I do have a slightly dry mouth. And the reason why is because I'm filming this on a video as well as recording the episode of the podcast. So I'm growing, and that is the best thing. That is the best thing. I feel a mixture of all of these emotions, and I've noticed it, and I'm telling you, I'm being honest with you because that's who I am. I'm telling you, I was scared to record a video on Friday. Today's Sunday. I'm still scared, but through repetition is growth. And the more I do this, the more I push myself, the more I record every episode of the podcast on a video, the better I'll become and the easier it will become. And it's that same old saying that the more you practice, the better you get. And that is such a true statement for this and public speaking. Now, you have a choice. You can either continue through the pain of the sweaty palms, the red face, the weak knees, the dry mouth. You can push through that and push through the pain, and you can grow, or you can just quit. The choice is yours. You don't have to, I'm not saying you have to push yourself and constantly, put yourself in an uncomfortable position, because you don't. That is up to you. And this is my choice to do this. But if you do, I guarantee you will grow as an individual. You will grow in confidence. Your ability to effectively communicate will grow, which will then create endless opportunities for you in the future. And the reality is that all of those things that you might be feeling, or that I'm feeling, like I said, the red face, you can see it in the light, the red face, the red cheeks, the sweaty palms. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but they're quite sweaty. They're all internal. And actually, if especially on the podcast, if I hadn't have told you guys about the fact that I was feeling that way, and I had sweaty palms and had a dry mouth, perhaps none of you would have known. Maybe 1% of you might have picked up on it, but I guarantee 99% of you wouldn't. And that's the thing. You are in control of it, and you can decide whether people are aware of it or not. You think people are aware of it, but they're not. And that's it. That is in your mind, and you are in control of it. And you can decide to keep going, or you can decide to give up and quit. The choice is yours, plain and simple. So let's just have a quick recap, because I've rambled on for the last sort of 19 minutes. So public speaking isn't what you think it is. If you're using social media and you are communicating via social media, then you are a public speaker. Growth happens through repetition. It won't be easy, but the more you do it, the better it will get. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. Thank you for watching the video. And if you have any questions, please feel free to connect with me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. All of the details are on the page. Thank you. Good night. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, we'd really appreciate it if you could leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or Stitcher. If you'd like to connect with us, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Simply Sales Podcast. Alternatively, you can head over to the website simplySalesPodcast.com.